Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sales Fitness Studio. And this morning, I'm joined by James Coulson of Embark Agency. And I have to admit to everybody here that James is my guy. So when you see sales strategists, you see the sales cardio logos, you see all the marketing and the fonts and what is it called, James? A style guide. That was all crafted by James and his team a couple of years ago. And so that's the image that you're seeing. So welcome this morning, James.
Thanks for having me, Martin.
You're very, very welcome. So James, Embark Agency, tell me a little bit about what it is you guys do. Like, you're a branding company, and we were just discussing it off air before, but what's a branding company do?
What is a branding company? So we class ourselves as a creative agency rather than just a branding company, because branding is only one kind of arm of what we do. But we basically, the branding part is helping businesses understand who they are and connecting your business to your ideal customer. And there's a whole strategy around that, and brand positioning and ideal audience and all those things. But we also do, in the digital space, we build websites. We do website strategy and development as well. So our main offerings: brand strategy, brand design and development, and website strategy, design and development. There are our two main offerings.
So you're a co-director of the business with your brother Phil, and so how did you guys get into this business in the first place? What possessed you to get into? Because this is a competitive business you're in.
It is. It's a good. Well, I'm talking 19 years ago. We started our business, so it's when you're young, you can feel like you could do anything. And I worked for a few businesses in the past, and I remember getting my job at a printing company. And I remember my interview, and I said, "Hey, look," his name was Jim. I said, "Jim, I'm not going to be here for very long. I'm going to start my own business." And he goes, "Yeah, no worries," and hired me pretty much on the spot. And then 5 years later, I remember sitting in my chair just going, "These job bags are coming in," and then charging me out. It was like $80 an hour at the time. And I'm looking at these job bags for $80 an hour. And I realized I get my pay slip handed to me on my desk, and it's literally right beside each other. I'm like, I'm getting paid, I don't know, maybe $20 an hour, and they're charging me out at 80. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Surely I can bridge this gap, and I can find 10 hours of paid work a week, which is basically my weekly salary. And I'm like, surely I can find 10 hours of work. So my twin brother and I then decided that's what we want to do. I supported him to leave where he was working, and both of our bosses were amazing, and they were very supportive of our move. I've even got some clients from when I very first started still with me today. So it's great to have that long-term partnership and relationship with my clients. But Phil, I supported him while he slowly stepped out of where he was, and he went full-time, and then I slowly did the same thing as well. It was a massive risky move. We had a small mortgage together, and we basically had, let's save up 30 grand, and once we got that 30 grand, we'll just go for it. So we slowly went part-time, full-time, and then we never looked back. It all happened quite fast. Well, it was definitely the hardest period of my life. I don't know if I could have done it on my own. Having Phil there to support me through that difficult time, like starting a business, no one tells you how many hats you have to wear. I'm a creative, I'm a designer. I don't know accounts, I don't know client relationships and all those things that come into it. And it's a lot of work. And but I wouldn't change a thing. I love the fact that I've started my own business, and I love working for myself. I feel like you get to make a bigger impact on the customers that you serve, and you have more control over what you're delivering and how you go about doing that. So, and who you work with, you have that choice as well. I love being able to control that, as well as like bring on the team I want to work with, and work with people that really align with my values, and work with customers that align with my values. So yeah,
and I know you're a business and a person who shows high integrity, and you have a great team and a good culture there, great culture there as well. So kudos to you and your brother for that. For our listeners out there, most of them would be business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, various stages of business. And we all hear marketing, and we all roll our eyes going, shit, okay, bend over, cop it sweet, open up our wallets. How much do you need? I guess that's, most people think of marketing as this stuff that was just this bottomless pit that we pour money into, right? Okay, it's lead gen. That's great. But now you're saying, well, it's not like that at all. So we were talking off camera before, and you were suggesting there's three pillars. You've got branding, you've got marketing, and then you've got the IT, which is your SEO and all that sort of stuff. So James, Why can't I go just straight to marketing? Why do I have to worry about this branding stuff?
Okay, right. Well, let's make that distinction as well, that branding isn't marketing. It underpins all of your marketing, but it's not actually marketing. Marketing is actually outreach to customers, whereas branding is the foundations of your business and understanding, like a brand strategy is your customer strategy. So you've got a business strategy and you've got a customer strategy. I see those as two sides of the same coin. So your brand strategy is how you connect with your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Am I still got? Have you still got me?
Yeah, yeah.
I've paused this in. So for me, working out what your business is, your values, your why. There's kind of three areas. You've got your what, which is the transaction.
Uh-huh.
You've got your how, which is how you go about providing that transaction, and then you've got the why, which is your purpose. But your customer also has, what do they want? Like, what does your customer want? How do they want what you're giving them? And why do they want it? So branding is about working on those three areas on both sides of that coin. And if you work on all of those areas, you get true transformation with your customers and you can really align. So having great alignment to your customers means that the customers you're attracting through, and your brand is, what branding actually is like a gut feeling someone has about your business. It's an ecosystem. A lot of people think that branding is just your logo, but your logo is not your brand. It's what I call the anchor to your brand. So it's something that you recognize in all of your material, and it brings that consistency across. But people put a lot of emphasis on the logo, and they want it to say everything. But your logos should be nice and simple. So, but moving from that, your brand is everything. It's that whole thing. It's your customer touch points. It's your customer interactions. It's your messaging. It's your brand identity. It's all of those things. All of those things make up your brand. And if you're not clear on what that looks like, what that ecosystem looks like, your customers aren't clear either, and they get confused. So what you want to do is you want to work out what your customer is, what it stands for, what are the values, why you're doing what you're doing, what is the transaction that you're doing, and how are you delivering it different to other people and other businesses out there. Like, how do you differentiate yourself in the market from your competitors? I always ask this brand strategy question is, why should they choose you over someone else? Why? And it all comes down to your branding and your brand strategy. So without having a solid brand strategy, then you just basically, you have no direction and you're not going to attract the right audience. So a great brand will attract the right customer, and the right customer is going to come to you and they're going to feel aligned. So your marketing is going to be easier because you know who to target and you know what they want and you know how they want it delivered and you know why they want it. And once you understand that, you can target with your marketing much easier. And once you're talking to the right people, your sales conversions are going to be easier. So everything becomes easier if you get clear on your brand strategy.
So basically, the brand strategy is your strategic direction, I guess, and then the marketing is everything else that you do. But without your overall strategy, you might end up somewhere you don't want to be, attracting the wrong customers, wasting a lot of money, I guess.
Wasting a lot of money, talking to the wrong people. Like there is nothing worse than working with the wrong customer. There's nothing worse. I have done it many times in my life. It is the worst experience for both of you. Like, it's the worst. So if you can pre-qualify your customers through brand messaging, brand identity, connect with them, then you're gonna save yourself a lot of pain and a lot of money if you do that properly. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the one thing that when we were talking off air, and you said it's okay that I brought this up, and no, I'm not going to say that, but but when we were talking earlier on in regards to branding and marketing, and you said at the moment you've gone out and you're actually learning more about how to market your business, and I said, but I don't understand. Isn't that your gig?
Yeah,
and it really brought home for me the difference.
Yeah, so marketing, people confuse, and like you were saying before, like IT and web developers, they kind of get lumped into the same category, but IT are completely different to web designers. Web designers do deal with technology, but they're not the same people. And marketing and branding is the same. We're not the same people. Because most of my business is word of mouth, 19 years, I've never really had to market. And you know what they say, calm seas don't make great sailors. Mm-hmm. I've never really had to concentrate on marketing. I've had leads to come in. I'm a great networker, and I've never seemed to have that problem. But yeah, like I'm learning at the moment, okay, if we do get quiet, what is my contingency, and how do I actually get leads if I want to do that? Start doing that outreach. So I've started doing looking into what that kind of process would look like, so that when I do if things start to go down or you get a bit of downturn in sales, I can actually switch a marketing mechanism on that can start generating leads. And I think that's really important, that we all have something that can do to bring leads in when things get quiet. Yeah.
Great. And you're on a sales show, so we will start talking sales in a minute. But a question I had for you, and people that don't know, is you've just gone through your own rebranding yourself. You're now the Embark Agency. When I started doing business, you were C Squared, and you were sharing an interesting story about what happened when you changed your branding and how that impacted business back in June last year. So I'm curious as to why a branding agency changed its brand and what impacts that then had on your business, at least in the short term.
Well, if you think about a brand, we started that nearly 20 years ago. I'm a different person now. Our business is completely different. Our customers are completely different. What we do is everything's completely different. So we were part of this brand. It almost felt like an old smelly sweater. I'm like, it feels uncomfortable. This feels like this isn't who we are anymore. And I really wanted to realign ourselves with our new purpose, mission, our values. Who are the clients we're trying to attract? What does that look like? What does that feel like? So for us, it was a massive realignment of where we are now, but also where we want to go in the next 10 years. Part of that as well, part of our new direction was to become a B Corp certified business, which is to be a business for good. It's about being socially, economically, environmentally conscious. It's about not about just profit. It's about actually working with businesses that want to create positive change in the world, which is, our business purpose is to create positive transformation in the world, one conscious brand at a time. So that's our new purpose. And we want to actually change the world with what we do. And that for us gives us purpose. That makes us getting out of bed every day. It makes us feel like we're making a difference. And I think a lot of businesses just glide over what a purpose really means. But if you can find a purpose that ignites your team and a mission that you can all get behind, that improves your culture, that improves your brand. And for us, we completely changed that. So we needed a new brand identity. We needed a new name. We needed a complete reimagination of who we are, or a reinterpretation of who we are, so that we could attract the kind of clients we want to attract. And it was all part of a brand strategy. Like we were trying to please everyone, which is the worst thing to do as a brand, trying to please every single person. So what we did is we actually niched into an audience. You can niche into an industry if you want to. Like we can only work in the hospitality industry. Thank God we weren't doing that over COVID. Or you could niche into an audience like we did, or you could niche into a product. You could say, okay, we're only going to do brands. We're not going to do websites. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to concentrate on brand identity, and that's all we're going to do. So you can niche in any three of those areas: product, industry, customer. You can niche in all three if you want. It becomes super niched. The reason that's a great strategy is because you're not trying to please everyone, and you become a specialist at what you do. And when you become a specialist at what you do, you become an only choice brand. And they've done some research that an only choice brand can actually charge up to 69% more for their products or services, because they're so aligned with their customer. Their customer's price doesn't even come into the equation. They just want to be a part of that brand. And I'm sure, like, if you look at even technology products out there, like you wouldn't I know I use iPhone, but I wouldn't change, and I don't really care how much it costs, because it's an only choice for me. It aligns with there's so many other decision factors involved in why I buy that phone, that the price doesn't come into it. And that's where we all want to be as a brand. We want to build that reputation, that great customer experience that people want to come back and they become raving fans. Like that's your goal. You want to create a brand that creates raving fans, and you don't even, and that's it. That's the holy grail for a brand, is just to be the only choice for your customers.
Wow, I'm convinced. That's just given me anyway great clarity. I don't know about anybody else, but that was really powerful, especially when you were talking about linking it back to passion, purpose, team, and the fact that you're right. Your business is 20 years old. We're different now, and it's okay to change your brand. So let's talk about sales. Before when we were off here, you mentioned that over the journey, you said I've probably lost or haven't closed about $1 million worth of sales because of an ineffective sales process. Now, I would say to you, if it's only $1 million over 19 years, you've probably done better than most.
Yeah.
Because the number that's a pretty good average. So, but you're in a very competitive marketplace. People don't necessarily understand brand strategy, which is what we've gone through. So, how do you actually sell Embark Agency? What is your sales process, and what's that journey been like for you?
It's been okay. You can talk to any creative out there. We're so passionate and love what we do. Put us in, and we're people pleasers. Like I don't think I've met a creative that's not a people pleaser. So for me, when I go into sales, I just want to help my clients, and that's why I got into business in the first place, because I want to help them. So when I have a sales meeting, I'm just helping them. That was my strategy, which worked for probably 15 years. Is I give them the solutions. This is what you do. This is how we would go about it, and I pretty much I unveil the magic ingredients to how they can make a successful website or a brand. And then, of course, they'd take my knowledge that I've given them in that sales meeting, go away and they'd do it themselves. Now, when everyone could afford us, that wasn't a problem, because they're just like, oh, look, it's just going to be better if we get these guys to do it. But when our offerings matured, or our products matured over time, and we had to realign our prices with our experience and the maturity of our business, those prices changed quite a lot, and it happened quite quickly too. Probably over the span of 2 or 3 years, our prices almost quadrupled in when we started pricing ourselves and realizing how good we are at what we do. We were underpricing ourselves so much, but the skills and knowledge to sell in that space was completely missing, I would say. So my conversion rates went down. I'd be going
so you had a realization. You thought, you know what, we add that much more value, and we need to realign, because your talent is you employ high-end talent that doesn't come cheaply. So you decided, I should get out of my Fiat Bambina, and maybe I could afford to drive a nicer vehicle and live somewhere other than a tent. So I'll put the prices up. I'm just joking. James doesn't live in a tent, people. And so you put your prices up. What happened next?
My conversion rates went down. And I noticed it. I'm going, I'm having this great rapport with the customers. They are so happy when they leave here. But then I wouldn't hear from them, like, oh, what's going on? It's like, oh yeah, you're just too expensive. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why is price even coming into this? And I was really, really confused. I would have gone from, in context, I would have gone from at least 90% conversion rate down to probably 30, like massive.
Wow, that's noticeable then.
Yeah. Noticeable. So I went through a really quiet period, which is when I kind of approached you, Martin, and said, what am I doing wrong here, Martin? What do I need to do here? Sales always felt uncomfortable for me. It always felt like icky, and I'm not that person. But what I've learned is if I really want to help people, they need to use me. And if I'm giving them all the solutions to their issues on our first sales call, and not understanding what their problem is in the first place, I think that was one of the biggest turning points for me. Is like, A, I'm not asking the right questions, and B, I'm going straight to solutions. So for the biggest lesson I've learned in the last 5 years in sales is stay off solutions completely. Don't even go there. They know you can fix the problem. That's why they're here in the first place. Your job is to explain the value that you're going to bring to their project and understand their problem better than anyone else. So when someone comes in here for sales now, it's questions, and then I say, hey, this is our process. This is what we'll go through, and I show them a little bit of a case study and show them what we do that's so good and where that value is, and that's completely flipped my sales back up to maybe 70 or 80% now, and
that transition from 30% up to 80% has happened over what type of time frame, James?
Probably over about 12 months, I would say. You can't just become an expert at sales. You just can't. And that's with anything. You need exposure therapy. You need to, I can read as many books as I like. I can watch as many videos as I like. Unless you actually, unless you're in there doing it, you ain't gonna learn. And there's discomfort. There's body language. There's so many nuances to sales that You just need to get in there and do it. So yeah, it was a massive learning curve. And now I feel like I'm confident in sales, and I feel like I can really help people now, and I have a much better attitude around sales and what that looks like. And also the fact that we rebranded our business means we're talking to the right customers now as well. So when I get a sales call now, they go through. I did a 70% question video with which you helped me, Martin. Where so I'll just quickly go over my conversion, my pre-qualifying my clients before they come in. So if I get an email inquiry from my website, if it's brand or web, they go into two different funnels. They're both basically the same. They'll go to a video that comes in an email and says, hey, here's a video. I've answered most of the questions I get asked on our first meeting. So we call it the 70 or 80% video. And in this video, I prize myself. I say, this is what we do. I talk about price straight up. I'm like, this is our pricing. We're between this and this. So immediately, if people are looking for a $600 logo or something like that, they're like, I'm not even going to go to the next step and book a meeting. So I like to pre-qualify a prize frame. I go into what we actually offer, all those questions that you get asked, which I would be on the phone literally every week going, repeating all the time. The other thing I did as well is when you book a sales call with me, I've controlled when those meetings happen. So I'm at my best in the mornings. So I've actually, in Calendly, I'll actually block out all the times where the sales calls happen, and I will only have sales when I want to have sales, when I'm at my best, because it's all about the 1%, right? It's all about making sure that you're on your game. And I know when they book that call, they will actually watch that video, which answers all that. I don't have to go through that spiel every time. So it's saving me so much time and so much effort that they come through and they're all primed, ready for the sale. Once they've watched that video, they will book an appointment with me through Calendly, which is a 45-minute sales call. Once they've booked that call, they will then get a questionnaire, which is I'm asking about their business. I'm not talking about what kind of logo do you want, what's your brand positioning. I don't talk about any of that stuff. I'm like, tell me what the biggest problems are in your business right now. I want to understand where your pain points in your business are. What are the issues? What are the issues? What are the issues? Are you B2B? Are you B2C? I'm asking all these really great questions that will save me time in the meeting. So when I have that 45-minute chat with them, I'm so across where they're at. I know exactly what problems they've got, and I can just dig in deeper if I want to. But by the time they come and have a sales call with me, I know exactly what's going on, and I know exactly how I can help them. And yeah, once again, the sales conversion is much easier, quicker. I'm not wasting time on doing that 70% of the questions that I get asked all the time, and it's just worked out really well. So I literally don't have to lift a finger until I have that sales call, and it all happens automatically.
So this is anyone listening to this, you've just had 4 or 5 minutes of absolute sales gold from James, because that is such a strong process. And it all starts with not supplicating and owning where you are in the marketplace, bringing out price up front. Hey, look, we're not for everybody. Because the customer, whenever they engage with someone, they're always thinking, I wonder how much it is. And even though you might not tell them, you might just tell them you're a premium product, or we're expensive, or the price range is between this and this. That's a great way to start, because you're getting deselection right from the get-go, and then you don't have to go back there again. And then the fact that you're pricing yourself and that you're actually making yourself unavailable. And when you are available, you're only available in times where it suits you, where you're at your best. That's a great habit to get into. What a great habit to get into. And I think when I really started I got a real feeling, James, that you've really got your shit together when it comes to sales, because I was getting a feeling that you really know your shit, and because you've done all your origination. And as you said, you don't have to ask all those lowball questions, because your time's important. And I've got a limited amount of time. I'm going to talk about the stuff that's really important. So kudos to you for digging into your sales process and getting to where it is now. And I imagine it feels pretty good now, does it? Like you're not as hesitant as you would have been.
And a lot of, I think, with sales as well is that confidence. And I feel like if I've known they've gone through that process, I feel confident that what I can do to help them is what they need. So I think confidence is one thing I have. And sometimes I remember used to get sales calls, and I'd be in the middle of something else. I'd be like, "Oh, hi, yeah, Embark Agency, James speaking," and then I'd launch into a sales call, and my head would not be in the game, and I would lose sales. Like, you can lose sales like that easily, right? So to be able to control that process for me has been an absolute game changer. Yeah, yeah, it's great.
And you give yourself and Joan, yeah, we can control our own calendars, and I think that's the thing is if you invite someone to book time in your calendar, then you're indicating that you are busy, that you are the prize, and it gives you the frame to be able to go, hey, look, James, it's great that we're able to connect this morning. We've only got a limited time together. If it's okay with you, I'm just going to get straight down to it. And then you bypass all the rapport building, which is lowball, useless, really not really important anyway. And they're getting the good stuff, so that at the end, they're actually. So, James, how do we get started? Where do we sign up?
Exactly, and it's like you're not wasting their time either. It's respecting both sides. There's nothing worse than going on a calendar. Are you available this day, this day, this day, this day, this day, this day? And you just go backwards and forwards, and you haven't even had a meeting yet. It's like, that's friction. And for me, that conversion strategy, whether I'm talking about websites, branding, sales, you want zero friction. You want it to be nice and easy. You don't want any excuse not to use you. Yeah, you just want to keep it easy for the customer. That customer experience is so important. And I think it also, when they go through the experience they have with me, they can realize the maturity of what we do as well. And it's all part of that brand as well that you're coming across. And yeah, that's another expression of your brand, is going through that.
And absolutely. And a clear process, a structured process, shows the potential customer that you've done it before, that you're an expert in what you do and that you know your shit. And a really tight sales process is like a security blanket. It makes the customer feel good about being in your sphere. And I know, we've been dealing together for a couple of years now, but when I came to you, you're an expert. How would you do it? I'm not telling, because I've come to you as someone that knows branding. And I remember I remember you gave me I don't know if you remember, but you gave me the style guide and you said, right, go to it. And then I think on my first couple of attempts out, I used the wrong font, and you were watching. Hey, Martin, that's not in your style guide. But now I'm very particular, even with my VA. This is the style guide. Don't deviate from it, because now I understand how important it is. So thank you for that, James.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that consistency and all your major touch points, in my opinion, need to be, you need to be giving your customers a nice experience, and it needs to be clean and polished. And how you communicate what you do is a direct representation of how you will service your customers. So if you're going to give them a slapdash, experience, or not well thought out, or it's all over the place, then what is that reflecting on you as the service you're going to offer? And that's part of your brand. You need to really display your polished, your approach, all of those things that make them want to use you even more. It all makes up that gut feeling that they have about you.
Brilliant. We're running out of time, James, so we're going to have to call it in just a second. It's been great. I could chat with you about this for ages, but I'm just going to interlude with a small advertisement for the sales strategist. So next Thursday at 6 p.m., I'm presenting a free live and virtual event, the high impact habits of a sales fit business. And James has got some of these already nailed. So there's a lot of habits that sales fit businesses engage every single day, and I've identified them and I know what they are, and I'm going to share them with you all on a live virtual call next Thursday at 6 p.m. That's the 24th. So you just need to pre-register for a Zoom link. You'll see that information all over the socials, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those socials. But James, appreciate your time this morning. It's been great that you've been able to share a little bit about branding. And here we go. Final question there from Chris. Would it be fair to say branding is the emotional flame to your business? Oh, I like that, Chris.
Emotional frame to your business. Yeah, it definitely is how your customers feel about your. It's definitely about the feels, definitely, and that how you go about that is like, it is that whole ecosystem. So it's all of those experiences that they come across. So your messaging, your brand identity, your brochures, all of that stuff makes up that emotional frame, I guess. Yeah, I haven't heard it be called that before, but it's nice. Thanks, Chris.
Brilliant. No worries. To everybody out there, have a great week. And from my sales heart to yours, remember, a sales fit business is a healthy business. See you all next week. Ciao for now.
Thanks, Martin.